Hsien Yang has publicly challenged the ruling People's Action Party's long-standing claims of exceptional competence and efficiency. In a Facebook post published on 18 April, Li criticized what he described as a breakdown in accountability and performance in recent years. Li is the youngest son of Singapore's founding Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew. He wrote, "Singaporeans need leadership that insists on efficiency and delivery. We want accountability when things go wrong. Keeps own self check own self is not working." His remarks come just ahead of the commencement of campaigning for Singapore's 14th general election on 23 April, with voters set to head to the polls on 3 May. Li questioned whether today's PAP still possesses the caliber to justify what he described as the highest salaries in the world. He added, "Is the PAP of today exceptional, with unmatched competence and delivery? After all, that is their justification." Citing several recent public sector failures, Li argued that the government's reputation for efficiency has been eroded. Among the incidents highlighted was the recent unmasking of large numbers of NRICs, which left Singaporeans vulnerable to scams and fraud. Scammers, according to Li, have used these exposed identity numbers to impersonate officials and deceive citizens. He criticized the government's reaction as being marked by denial, deflection, and defense, followed by a shift of responsibility to citizens. Government agencies, he said, framed the exposure as a miscommunication between the ministry and the Accounting and Corporate Regulatory Authority. "Where is accountability?" Li asked. "What is being done going forward to protect sensitive data?" He also referenced persistent issues with the mass rapid transit system. From 25th to 30th September, MRT services were severely disrupted between Jurong East and Buona Vista, affecting 500,000 daily journeys out of a total 2.8 million. This came shortly after a fare hike, sparking public outrage and raising questions about the reliability of public transport and the competence of transport authorities. Li further criticized the government's flood management, noting that despite major investments in infrastructure, flash floods have continued. He argued that poor planning for population growth and insufficient climate resilience measures have left Singapore vulnerable. "These floods remind older Singaporeans of a time before an earlier PAP fixed flooding," he remarked. Li highlighted the Simpligo system rollout, which has been sarcastically dubbed Simpligoston by critics. The system faced strong backlash after users complained they could no longer view their card balances upon entry. Following negative feedback, the government committed another 40 million Singapore dollars to reinstate the older system. Similarly, the 500 million Singapore dollars ERP 2.0 system drew criticism for delays, design flaws, and privacy concerns related to its onboard units and monitoring features. The system, initiated in 2013 and initially planned for 2020, is now targeted for completion by the end of 2025. Li also revisited the controversial use of Tracer-Together data, which was initially promised to be used solely for COVID-19 contact tracing, but was later accessed by law enforcement agencies. He referenced the public outcry that led to the cancellation of the Allianz acquisition of NTUC Income and the unauthorized clearance of parts of Kranji Forest, which came to light only after discovery by a private citizen. These events, Li argued, have a troubling pattern of inadequate oversight and weak institutional checks. On 13 April, in a separate post, Li called for greater political diversity and representation in Parliament. He argued that Singapore needs new voices, ideas, and approaches, not more of the same. Li stressed the importance of robust, dynamic decision-making in an unpredictable world. LHY, who has been living in exile in the United Kingdom since being granted asylum in 2024, cited political persecution in Singapore as the reason for his move. His wife, Lee Suet Fern, also joined him in seeking asylum. HY left Singapore in 2022 after a series of legal and governmental actions were taken against him and his family. Lee Suet Fern faced disciplinary proceedings and was suspended for 15 months from practicing law due to allegations of misconduct linked to the handling of the late LKY's will. Their son, Lee Shengwu, was fined for contempt of court following a private Facebook post. In October 2024, Lee revealed, "I sought asylum protection as a last resort. I remain a Singapore citizen and hope that someday it will become safe to return home." A long-time critic of the PAP, Lee's political stance has grown increasingly aligned with alternative movements, such as the Progress Singapore Party, founded by former PAP Member of Parliament Tan Cheng Bock. He joined PSP during the 2020 general election. In his 2019 Facebook post, he asserted that the PAP of today had strayed from the values and principles once held by his father, Lee Kuan Yew.